Hello, so welcome to episode 2. Yes, different environment. She's a little more plain. This is my home. But yeah, I originally was gonna do a different video on my setup, but it was boring. So today we're going to learn about anatomy. I learned anatomy through figure drawing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've honestly found it better through figure drawing to like understand anatomy. Like I'll look up like things on Pinterest, like anatomy, or like look up other like YouTubers. But to like the phrase that you learn better when it's in front of you is real. So I took figure drawing this year, my first semester. Loved it. I will give some tips on what I use now, because before I was just using like outlines of bodies or like go on Pinterest and find like structures of bodies. Like I wouldn't use actual human references. To be honest, that is the best. Like to try different facial structures, different body structures, different heights, people that have muscles, that don't have muscles. I will put a little section of some things that did figure drawing. I will have to blur some parts out because figure drawing is literally drawing someone in their complete nude. And I don't like, I didn't draw their face, but I still want the privacy to be, respected. And this is, I'm not gonna show nudity on here. But yes, so some things I use anatomy books, these things. A good practice too, if you don't want to go straight to like learning muscles or stuff like that, is the skeleton. The skeleton's a very good way of learning anatomy because you kind of learn where the bones are and you build on there. I am okay at drawing skeletons. I've drawn some skeletons before, but I'm okay. But I did see it before where people draw like the skull and then draw a face on top of there, which could be a good way of learning that. But if you just want to learn the skull, like the whole skeletal as like a whole, to learn, okay, the head's here, the distance here, and I'll just show you like the average person's around like 7.5 heads. Long. It also depends on age, but I will give those charts there. I also have a pamphlet I got from my school. It's just pictures, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like we literally did an exercise where we drew every part of this on this piece of paper just so we can memorize it, which I'll be doing with you guys. Yay! Just to show you guys what I do. So yeah, we're gonna go off to show you the goods.
So hello, so we're gonna learn about the muscular system of the lower limb. So do my little marking, but don't get overwhelmed by the muscles that you see here. This is just how the anatomy is. So like the overall leg. And this is very important for people who want to do more characters or more superhero characters, like anime characters. These are like really good, like Baki type level. But I want to think of the overall shape. So as you see here, it's almost like a teardrop right here. Like something like an oval up here, but then it goes to this point here, which generally we do a circle for, or like a long oval. And this is, I like to do like that to shorten it, so like it's almost like an oval. And then this I think of like almost like a rectangle. I want to think about it like that. It has a slant, right? And this is an oval. I really don't know what to call this. I call this more, this is like this. Like a staple. Think of it like a staple. And then do a long oval. That is a general shape that you want to do for the leg. This is basically what figure drawing helps you do. So yes, I am gonna show the labels here if you are interested in those. I will show them later on. This is the side. So I want us to think of this. This is the butt area. This is our circle. I want us to not get overrun by the muscles. This is just shapes we're focusing on. And then this. There we go. Like almost an oval. Like think about like that. Everything connects together. Oval. This is a circle area if you want to put like a circle inside there so you're not confused. Think of this as an extreme staple. So I did this shape. Show you on the side. because we're gonna make sure that everything still connects even though we are doing shapes. Shapes are just easier so you know, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And then here, I did kind of the same thing as I did before with like that rectangle that has a curve at the end. Cause remember, we're curved. Nothing is straight and boxy majority of the time. It's very rare human anatomy has straight boxes. And then this is a circle. You try to do like a triangle here. This helps. Yeah, do like a little triangle. There's no that triangle, there is like a type of circle here, like an oval. Okay? Mindful, these muscles are from people who want to do that. Like this is just anatomy. It's the same thing, same concept. You see this bone section here? That's the part I really want to focus on right now. Is you see the bones and how they correlate also with the muscle. So it changes. So this muscle isn't present on this bone. So here, it actually is almost like we did before, but smaller. And this one has a U at the end, more say. And this has an oval instead of a circle here. And then, you know, this curves. And this doesn't have much of a curve. This has more of this shape. So I think that's kind of things you gotta keep in mind when you're doing skeletons. Like, if you do want to draw from, you know, the skeleton, you know, add on to it, these muscles are gonna change a lot. Just keep that in mind. And then next, we're gonna learn about the bone structure. So I know that this is not as, you know, out, but you can see like the correlation of the rib cage, this area, all this stuff, the spine. You get your pelvic area with those hip, like, you know, your hip bones, your shoulders, and they show you here compared to a human. So that's a good way to learn it, you know, from skeleton. You know, it kind of gives this same shape. This kind of gives that same shape. You know, keep those things in mind. The same way for the back area. You'll make sure that you keep in mind of that spine, which is here. And then where the buttocks and the hips go. Here, and like this bone correlates to this bone. You see that divot? This kind of caused that divot because of the space here. Muscles and stuff go there, which we saw previously. And here we go. We're gonna go to just the general form. So you get regular human, but you know, regular skin, and then the muscle is here. So something I like to do that I learned is this. Think of this like a football. Like a football, or even an eye when you're starting to learn how to draw eyes. It's that type of process. And then, you know, this comes here. A lot, like, the body's very round. Even though it does have some elements of a box in it, it's over pretty much round. Because, like, even here, this has a roundness to it. There's a curve here. This has a roundness to it. It's like a bunch of rectangles and then, like, circles and roundness. And then remember this, it's almost like a triangle. So yeah, our body's made of shapes. So I want us to always remember that. Bodies are made of shapes. This is the back. Same concept as I did before. Everything is shapes. And then here, this is very important. I remember when I was with figure drawing, I had a very hard time anytime the model would change certain positions. So remember, with the neck, the anatomy changes depending on how they move around. So you see this part of the neck is stretched out. This has a turning, so this changes the anatomy. So like even the shoulder will go off and this would be higher. Like these are things we have to keep in mind. Even this, now the spine has changed its position, and we have to see even here how everything else changes anatomy wise. This is the arm. Mindful, don't be scared of the muscles. I promise you, don't be scared. Remember this, see even here you see that teardrop if you want to be more specific. And then here, just do a little oval. There's a circle here, I guess you can do that, but this is more muscular, so you don't have to worry about that too much. You see, you can just always do ovals. And the hand, remember, triangle here, depending on the angle, of course. You can always do another triangle, another triangle. That's kind of been my thing, where I kind of learned how to do a little trick. Same thing here. Remember that football I told you? You can see the shape of it here. And this is another oval, kind of circle. Another oval, which is a little wider. See here, this comes out. Kind of do something like that. So it's kind of the basis of anatomy, I'm not gonna lie. The simpler that you make it, the easier it gets. And that's pretty much it. So I am gonna show a little bit of this that helps me. This shows the whole spinal cord. This is a science book, but I did use it to learn how to do hands in different positions. I'm telling you, science books are very, very helpful. Like even here, they're showing you the muscles, they break them down, and that's good for anatomy because we can learn even, you see, this is basically what figure drawing is. Someone stands there and we draw this. Like these are good exercises. Remember, see the face and the skull? This is a good exercise to draw as well to learn the facial anatomy, to learn structure. You break it down. When you break things down, they make it easier to draw. And I know it's very overwhelming because of the muscle. So like just take the concept of the muscle out of it. You have to. That's just gotta do that, man. You can't overthink it. And like even this, I learned the woman anatomy through this. Was like, okay, the heads here, how many heads is this? You have to count it. It's usually 8 heads, but I'm not gonna count it right now so you can see how bad I am at math. So I am gonna teach you some things that I learned during figure drawing. New page. Okay, so whenever we're doing a body, first I should have did a reference. Always do a reference. But whenever you see a body, everything starts with a circle. I always start from the top down. Everyone's different. A woman usually has these 2 lines because we have curves. We're different. So we know this is around your torso. You know, things change, you know, depending on especially depending on the person's position. So we should say this person is on a slant. And then a woman has 2 lines. So they kind of like enter. There you go. And then of course, usually the hip and the arms, like, you know, the shoulders usually collide together. Make sure you get that neck. There's a head. And literally, that's literally what you do when you first start. And then literally just like this is like, you got to do these exercises where, you know, you don't overthink it. Stuff like that. Like literally do small little increments of these. That is what figure drawing is. So I am gonna go here and show you how the man, mainly a man is 1 line. We don't do 2 for men. Men, their anatomy is different from ours, so they don't have to do 2 because they don't have as much curves as we naturally do. And the same concept goes for them though. The head, the shoulders, the hips, and like even like put the feet out, and then, you know, you usually use your pen or pencil, whatever, to like layer, like, you know, count how many heads it is down. But you know, you can go like, even like go like this. I've seen people do like stuff like this, where like we'll say that the model is holding their head, and like people will do this, and they're like, okay, their legs here. And I'm not saying this is how someone would actually stand, but you can already see, you'll be able to, excuse me, see, okay, thanks a lot, pencil, where these elements are. And then you put like a, you know, their chest area here, you know that this will curve out, and then stuff like that. Like this is things you just gotta learn. You learn it over time though. I'm telling you, figure drawing and me, whew, not bad. And like, see, I'm building on it. And then of course, like all the extra stuff comes, but when you first draw, you want it to be free. You don't want it to be so, oh, I have to stick by a certain rule. The rules come after you do the sketching. Like you literally draw what you see, and then it's just like, oh my goodness, this is what I was missing. And it's like you figure out the anatomy part with time. Like already you can see a development. And like, even if that isn't right, you can always go back. Always remember, you can always go back and like figure it out. remember that. Like, this is just a process. Everything is a process in life. I promise you it is. Like that. That's literally what figure drawing is. You figure out how to do this. So now I am going to show examples I did do with figure drawing. And remember, there was different increments, and I will speak you through those. But yeah, that is what a visual representation of what the first couple minutes of figure drawing is. Fast drawings. There'll be like minute drawings. And I will show you some references. You know what? Actually, I'm going to do a reference of figure drawing. I'm going to get a reference from Pinterest. Okay, so I kind of want to break this down before I show you what I did here. I might redo that, but so I want us to break this down to shapes how we did with this when we were going through the pamphlet. Here, I want us to, okay, so this first, let's do another layer so we don't get too confused. So this, I want us to think of this as a circle. Nothing too crazy. Circle. That's where the general synopsis of what we'll be drawing of her face. And then we think of this line, almost, because let's focus here. Usually necks are like around the rectangle spectrum of shapes, but because of the way her face is positioned, it kind of has this curve to it. Always remember, our bodies has roundness somewhere. So like not everything is always going to be like boop, boop. It's going to be a type of round. I think it's always that sharp. And then, so this general area, I think this is more of triangle. Let's think about like that. With a triangle side of it as well. It's kind of how I picture those things. Then here, it's like a half circle, another half circle. You could even do an oval. So another way of doing that is just a type of half oval. Almost a staple thing that I did earlier, where I did those. Well, they're more round. Like those U's, but almost like that. Think about like that. The arm, just do ovals. Plain long ovals. Do a circle here, because we gotta remember we have a joint there and a bone. Then we do another oval. And with this part of the arm, I really do enjoy putting these box rectangle shapes. Just so I remember, like, there's ligaments there, there's bones there, there's a process before we get here. And of course, I like doing that. I like knowing where things go. Remember, we're doing a general shape, just so we understand where things will eventually align. See, we already are halfway there. And then this back part, if you want to break it into sections, like, okay, this is like top of her back has, there's a dent right there because of the way she's positioned. And then even here, okay, this is the second part of the body, because this is also a good way to position clothing and understanding where the hips are. And then our hip is here. So remember, there's going to be some roundness there. And then her leg is here. So remember, that oval goes with that leg. Break it into general shapes. And then here, this is an oval. Of course, the oval is low disturbed because there's an arm. So here, you do like a little half oval. And remember, this perspective. So the further it is in the picture, the smaller it will become. So remember, there is foreground, midground, then background. This would be considered background, this area of her body. And this arm is her foreground. Midground is more like this thigh and whatever's in the middle before we hit these 2 points. And then here, it's like another oval. Okay, so I said this before. This is how I interpret the hands. It's almost like a triangle. That's how I interpret hands. I bet you're gonna get there. So then if you feel like the circle is too big, which is okay. Because remember, this is a learning process. We could do an oval if that's a preference. If you feel like that's like, oh, it's not even. Which is bothering my eyes as well. There you go. So like, let's take this picture out. Look at that is general body that you want to do. You can always go back to be like, okay, something feels like it's wrong, it's missing. No, we're not missing anything. Because remember, we're gonna learn to add this part in once we're drawing. Because your body isn't boop boop. No, it's never that sharp. There's ligaments here, there's muscles here. But we do this just so we understand, okay, that's a general shape. And like, even if you do want to include the pelvics, you could do that as well. Be like, okay, that connects there, and then there's that bridge between the leg and the pelvic bone. You know, those are just little things that you want to think about. And if you want to include the hair, you can. Remember, everything has a general shape to it. Everything in the human body has shape. See, boop. We're just going with the shape of it. That's how we want things to be. And then we understand that because she has a tattooed face, oop, I'm so sorry, it's gonna be curved a little bit, you know? And then we want to make sure that we do these eyes the right way. And understand that even the face has shapes in it. So of course this is like an oval. This could be a triangle almost at the end. That's usually how I do my noses. And then boop. These all have shapes. Even the brows. Half box, another box there. Like these are general shapes that you can do. And then even the eyeballs. This thing, eyes always start with a circle. Always remember that. I'm always going to start with a circle. Even the lips. Me personally, I usually do lips in a box because that's usually its surrounding areas. And I go like that. And then remember, okay, have triangles. You know, and then this can go the same way. And a chin, it's usually a circle or an oval. The cheeks are also that as well. People don't really do this all the time unless you really want to define those. So I'm gonna exit those out. People usually do this if they're doing more chiseled. And even the head. Remember, everything has a roundness to it. Think of it as a U. And then a little line at the bottom. With that shape. That's like the general synopsis of it. And when you take that off, there you go. You have a better outline of shapes. So when I was drawing this earlier, which I did in the previous video that I was doing when I was drawing her, I did this. I wanted to show the roughness of it, which we've seen before. But yeah, that is like 101 of figure drawing. Figure drawing, you could do it like if you're just learning, you could include the shapes so you can make this better. But when you're first starting, don't outline anything. Like this is a good way to like, okay, visualize it if you're just starting off. But we want to make sure we get you to a point where you're starting to do sketches rough and then developing it into this. Okay. For next video, we're going to go more into the depths of anatomy. So we're going to finish this off and show how we can go from here to a completed picture that looks very similar to this. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to show today. The purposes was to mainly show figure drawing, anatomy, how to break down the body into, you know, shapes, how to translate it onto paper. So yes, thank you for watching.